Yes, people. Manchester United nil, Arsenal 1. Was it the greatest game? Nah, one of the worst. One of the worst Arsenal Man United games you're going to see. Snooze fest in parts. Didn't need to play well because Manchester United are dusty. That is what we are going to talk about tonight. It was an absolute shambles of a Manchester United side on paper. And I don't think I saw any fight or desire until maybe they like to fancy a bit of a sniff of action. I don't think Raya did too much, to be fair. It was a poor Manchester United side. Arsenal didn't play well, didn't have to play well. I was disappointed with certain individual performances, and as a collect, I expected to really hurt Manchester United. You all knew my score prediction. I said I thought we'd win 4-0. I said I thought we'd absolutely smash them. I thought we'd come out all guns blazing. I thought we'd be too much for them. But nah, we didn't really get out of first gear. It was boring. But the win is the win. The 3 points is what matters. But I can't help feel a little bit disappointed with how we played, particularly in midfield and in the final third. Defensively, Arsenal have never been a problem. You know, from David Raya in the back four, Arsenal this season are where they are because of how good we've been defensively more than anything. When I look at Saliba's performance, it's levels, mate. Absolute levels. This player is ridiculously good, by the way. We're going to come back to him in a minute. But in midfield, I felt we could have dominated a bit better. I don't think we dominated well at all. I thought Rice was fairly quiet. I didn't think Erdegaard was on the ball. Partey was a bit sloppy. And in the final third, none of them really did much. But I don't think they needed to. It's just easy. It was easy. It wasn't like Manchester United were peppering our goal. We let them have the ball, said try break us down. It was a bit meh of a game, wasn't it? So that was why I was disappointed with the performance. But we needed 3 points, and that's all that matters. And we got them. We got them. So we're going to talk a little bit about the game. We're going to go into some of the players. We're going to talk about what this means for tomorrow night and for Tuesday night, because Liverpool Villa is going to be massive now for the Tuesday night game, which is even bigger, of course, Spurs versus Man City. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to go into the last game of the season and what people's predictions are for that now. And what we believe this has been, whether it's win or lose this season. Where are we at with where we think we should be to where we are? So that's what we're going to talk about for the next 10, 15 minutes. It's going to be a short one today. It's just going to be a bit of a fan count, a bit of reaction from it. And I wanted to touch on some of the individual performances. Now, let's start with the positives. Man of the match, Saliba. I said on my fan cam on AFTV that I have not seen a centre-back like this in terms of how young he is and how good he is. I have to go back as far as Rio Ferdinand to look at another centre-back who's as good as Saliba is at this young age. Now, the difference between Rio Ferdinand and Saliba, not in terms of how they play, not really much different. Both ball-playing defenders, right? Both calm on the ball, can both do quite a lot on the football. But when it looks at where they were at their age group, Rio Ferdinand at 2021 was at West Ham trying to keep him up. Saliba, in his first 2 seasons, has been in 2 title races. It's phenomenal. Unbelievable achievement. The partnership with Gabriel, I always mention it. It complements each other. Thought Gabriel was fine today. Ben White got done a couple of times by Garnacho, but played really well. But Saliba was head and shoulders above everyone. For me, just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I've not seen a player like him at Arsenal defending now. I've got to say it, since the Tony Adams of this world and the Sol Campbells of this world. And I think that when he looks back at his career, when he retires, I think he will have a phenomenal career. I hope it's at Arsenal for the majority of it, but I think he will go back and look at his career and he'll go down as one of the greats at Arsenal. He really will. He has been phenomenal and he deserves to win trophies. And I hope he does it at Arsenal, because if he does, he'll go down as a legend for sure. He was so composed, so calm, so good at interceptions. Unbelievable tackle on Garnacho in the penalty area. Has to time that inch perfect, and he does. I was really, really impressed, man, with Saliba. So for me, head and shoulders above everybody. In the midfield, I was a little bit worried. And I can't really understand why we couldn't dominate it. I don't think we tried to. Thomas Partey was so deep for the whole of that game. He was pretty much playing as a third centre-back. Erdegaard, he drove forward a bit. but it wasn't really his usual spin on the ball, turn, drive forward, let's go see who's in front of him. Very kind of defensive display from most of our team. And Declan Rice was nowhere near close enough to Thomas Partey to be able to really get into the game. He just played okay. In the final third, I thought Havertz and Trossard did really well for the goal. But what is Casemiro doing? That is an experienced head. That's not someone who's finished as a footballer. Oh, he's too slow. He's trotting. He's not even trying. It wasn't like he was trying to cover 100 yards. He was trying to cover about 5 or 6. Way too slow. Not in the game. Intelligence-wise, gone. Sleeping. For me, I just don't really understand what he's thinking there as a footballer. It's poor. But Ben White, quick thinking, gets Havertz in. I thought he was going to be miles on offside when I saw it live. But then when you see it, Casemiro's miles playing him on. But the movement from Trossard is fantastic. It's a great cross. But that is what you call instinctive finishing and movement off the ball. He, again, was not amazing today. But you know what? Trossard doesn't have to be. Because Trossard's scoring goals. That's now, I think, 16, 17 goals that he's got in all competitions, 12 in the league. For a player that hasn't started every single game, that's pretty good going, you know. Him and Havertz have both scored 12 goals now, and I think Saka's got 16. So, yeah, similar numbers to Ødegaard, Saka and Martinelli of last year, who all got 15 goals. We've now got Saka on 16 and the other two on 12. Now, Martinelli and Jesus and Ødegaard haven't been on the score sheet as much this year, but Trossard and Havertz have now stepped forward. So I think it's really impressive what Leonardo Trossard is doing. Leandro Trossard is doing. Leonardo, I called him. Because I think when you look at his signing, 26, 27 million pounds, he will go down now as one of the best January transfers that we have signed. Aubameyangs, Arshavins, all those guys. So I look at it and think, yeah, you've got us that result. And it was interesting. I just listened to the post-match where the interviewer said to him, Overmars has scored here. Will Tord has scored here. You've now scored here. Could you be the guy who could win Arsenal the league at Old Trafford? And we won't know that now. We won't know that until Tuesday night, until the last game of the season. Anything can happen in football, but I'm in a position where I have a little bit of pessimism because I just know what Man City are like. I think that pessimism is probably a bit of realism as well. But anything can happen in football. We sit and we pray. So that's where we're at. So it was 1-0 to the Arsenal. We brought on the subs a little bit late for me. I thought Martinelli could have given us a little bit of an outlet a little bit earlier. Jesus, likewise, I would have made that move for Saka a lot earlier and not before he got the knock. I felt like we needed Jorginho in the midfield to be brought on. And I know that sounds mad, but I just felt like we needed a little bit of control in midfield, and it was something that we were lacking. And I just felt that Jorginho at least is somebody that does that because he anchors and he's more deep lying. He doesn't go forward, back and forth, no number 8s, no box to box. And I felt like there was a need for him, but I didn't expect him and Kivior to come on with 12 minutes to go to try and hold and see out the game. That's for sure. But I was in a position with 10 minutes to go where it was a bit nervy because of the scoreline. But let's be real, Manchester United weren't really doing much. I mean, Garnacho was having shots outside the box that were going over. There wasn't really any threat from Manchester United in their midfield. I felt they were all pretty sort of blank free, really, of Amrabat, who I thought was poor with his passing. McTominay, who is an all right player, has more one for the kind of leadership and mentality side of things. Don't think he's got any skill or technical ability or creativity. And then Kobe Minu, who I thought was probably one of their best players. Garnacho was always a threat, but I didn't think he was really going to be able to score. So I think there's some disappointment with some Arsenal fans because we thought that it was going to be 3 or 4, and I was one of those. But give me 3 points, man. Just give me the 3 points. But I can understand why people are disappointed by the performance. I didn't think it was a good one at all. I didn't think Manchester United were anything like they should have been. So there's my individual performances. Thought Saliba was clearly man of the match, and I think he's been one of the players of the season at Arsenal. I think him and Gabriel should have definitely been put forward for the Player of the Year award, but unfortunately Van Dijk got in ahead of him. I don't quite know how, but he has. So we have to look at that. But Gabriel and Saliba have been phenomenal along with Declan Rice. And I think if you were to look at Ødegaard and Saka being put forward, I would look at the other 3 ahead of those. I'd put Saka and Ødegaard behind those 3. I really would, because Ødegaard had a great 3 quarters of the season. Saka's had an okay season. These 3 have had a phenomenal one consistently from game 1 to game 38. So for me, those are the 3 that we'll be looking at if we do the unthinkable and win that Premier League title. It'll be down to those 3 players. I really believe that. So that's where I'm at. When it comes to Manchester United, let's talk about them very quickly. That's epitomised everything that's wrong with that club at the moment. From the roof leaking, and I know it was raining before people start laughing, but that was a leaky roof. My word. Old Trafford is falling down. Ten Hag is an effing clown, is what they sing. I agree with both of that. Old Trafford is falling down and it needs looking at. Ten Hag is a clown. I don't understand how he's still there. Glazers staying 10 more years. Arsenal boys are on the beers. That is the song. And the Glazers look like they're staying. They're going to give the reins to Jim Ratcliffe, to Barada, to Wilcox, to Dan Ashworth. And I think they're probably good hands to be given the reins to. What will be funny is if they sack him and get Southgate. I don't think they will. I think Thomas Tuchel or Graham Potter or somebody like that will go in. But I think they need to be given some time because Manchester United is a mess. And I look at the playing staff. How many of those players would you want in the Arsenal squad? Because none of them are getting in the first team. You combined 11 with Arsenal and Manchester United. None of the Man United players are getting in. Like real talk. I think Kobe Mainoo's a good player. I think Højlund will come good. I think Garnacho's a good player. I think Lisandro Martinez is all right when he's fit. I think Dallow's a good player. Other than that, how many of those Manchester United players would you want to look at? I mean, it's a poor outfit. And they just didn't look anywhere near good enough today. They got a lot of injuries, and they really have. Luke Shaw's out, Varane's out, Lisandro Martinez is out, Bruno is out, Mount is out. Obviously, Rashford is out. So Manchester United have got to prove that they aren't this toxic club that ruins players. Because I've seen them ruin Rashford, Sancho, Pogba, Casemiro and Varane have gone there and they look terrible. Will Mason Mount be another one that gets ruined? Even though I'm not really a huge fan. They need to stop that. They need to believe that they are the big club that they once were. And they need to actually start acting like one again. They spent a lot of money, Manchester United. But look at what they've had to spend it on. Absolute rubbish. You know, £200 million they've spent. They could have bought Kane and Declan Rice. And do you know what? Kane and Declan Rice for that amount of money would have been better just to buy those two than get Mount, Anthony, Maguire. Who else has been really expensive? Sancho, Malacia. Who else have they bought? Højlund. Let's be real, they spent a hell of a lot of money, haven't they? 73 million on Højlund, and they could have got 90 for Harry Kane. 105 for Declan Rice. They spent 60 on Mount alone. They've spent a ridiculous amount of money on Sancho, Anthony. Come on, man. Let's be real. Anthony and Højlund, or Rice and Kane. Come on, like absolute no-brainer for me. So that moves us on to Tuesday night. Can Spurs be Spursy? Well, listen, there's a game before that tomorrow night, which is Liverpool versus Villa. Now, it's at Villa Park. I expect Liverpool to win that game. Villa are off the back of a very disappointing defeat. Their confidence is low. They're out of the European Conference League. And I honestly believe Liverpool win this game. I know they can't win the title, but I think they'll win it. That then allows Spurs to be favourites to go and get top 4. And they need to take something off of Man City if they're going to do that. Now, will they get into a stage where you look at it and go, do you know what? We want to go and get top 4? Or do they not care, want to roll over so that Arsenal can't win the league? Ask a Tottenham fan, they will all want to roll over so Arsenal cannot win the league. Ask the players and the manager, they will want to get top 4. Ask Daniel Levy, he will want to get top 4. Spurs have seen Arsenal win the league before. They should really care about themselves. But if the roles were reversed, what would we want? If the roles were reversed and we had to beat Manchester City to get top 4, but it meant Tottenham would win the league, would we want to beat Man City? I bet most of you would say no, because none of us want to see Tottenham win the league. Yeah, it would be insufferable. But you have got to look at yourself as well, so I can understand that those that are to and fro-ing. It's going to be one of the weirdest atmospheres, isn't it? Because when Tottenham score, what's happening? Are they going to be cheering, or are they going to be going mad like they normally do? Be a very, very interesting one. It really will. I don't think it will matter because personally, I believe Manchester City will win this comfortably by 3-0. I don't think Tottenham are defensively sound enough. And I think although Ange might change it a bit and try and go maybe 3 at the back or try something different and stop this crazy high line, I don't think it's going to be enough. Manchester City were a pleasure to watch against Fulham. I've got to say that. I thought they were exceptional. And I think that they'll be exceptional against both Spurs and West Ham. But we go into the last game of the season knowing that we can at least lift this trophy. And that is amazing. Now we go into the Everton game at home with confidence. Hopefully it'll be a nice sunny day, a nice send-off, and we win our game. And then we just pray that something happens at the Etihad. Now, if they've beaten Spurs on Tuesday night, it will be West Ham that we need to try to ensure do something. And I don't think they're playing anywhere near well enough to have any faith that they'll do something. It's David Moyes' last game. They might play a bit of pride, but that'll literally be about it. Mikel Antonio has apparently come out in a podcast and say if Arsenal win all their games, I think they'll win the league because I think West Ham can nick a point off of Man City at the last game of the season. I really doubt it. I mean, if Luton can score against them, they're going to. So I do believe that it will be quite a comfortable win. And I've actually said that I think they'll win 3-0 against Spurs and 4-0 against West Ham, and there'll be nothing we can do about it. But if that is the case, and we do not win the league, what does it mean for Arsenal? If the unthinkable happens and we do win the league, what does it mean for the club? Well, I think Mikel Arteta puts himself up there, one of the best managers currently. If he wins the league, I think people will look at that achievement and go, wow, he's beaten Pep. I think it will be funny to look at the Liverpool fans that we're crying because Klopp's only won one and Arteta's won it in his first ever job. But if I'm being real, I do think Manchester City win it and I do think we fall short. Now, do Arsenal bottle the league? No, I don't think so. Does it matter if we do this time? Not really to me. Like if someone says, do you think Arsenal lost the league title? Yes. Do you think they bottled it? Do you? Yes, we do. Okay, then maybe we did. Like, why is it such a harsh crime if it's you lost it? Right, but did you bottle it? Maybe. Oh, he's not annoyed because, normally when you say bottle the league, people cry about it. Who cares, man? Who cares? We come second to Manchester City. That's probably what's going to happen. They're a good side. And Arteta, had my doubts, but he's proven in 2 years he can get us in a title race. At the moment, there is nobody out there that I believe we can realistically get that would guarantee us finishing above Pep Guardiola. So Arteta's going to stay another year. Now, if he gets to the stage where he spends no more money, goes out all the cups again, dumps us out of the Champions League, and we finish second by more than taking them to the last day, then we can start to have the conversation about why can't we get over the line with this guy. But until then, I think that we are in a position where we're getting closer and closer. We're challenging, and that's the way it is. And I've changed my mind on that quite a few times in relation to where I see Mikel Arteta's future this coming season. I've never said that I want this guy for the next 5-10 years. I've always said that if he underachieves, he should go. And I've also said when you look at why he's not won something, there needs to be context. I can't forgive him for the Carabao Cup. Liverpool's a flip of a coin. Bayern Munich's an elite European side, and he's taken Man City to the last game of the season. Now, if we were 12 points off right now with one game left, and if he'd gone out of the Champions League to Club Bruges or Shakhtar Donetsk or somebody like that, and we've been dumped out of both the competitions, I would be more pissed to say, do you know what? Nah, I ain't happy. Get this guy gone. We're miles off. But we're not miles off. We're nearly there. And one of my biggest concerns is that we haven't had the trust of the bench. And he's kept this bench far too long. Reece Nelson needs to be upgraded upon. So does Eddie Nketiah. So does Fabi Vieira. So does Emil Smith-Rowe. So do the likes of Cedrics and El Nenis and all these guys. I think they need to just be gone now. And I think in the summer, when we clear out and get some money for Ramsdale, Tavares, Lokonga, Tierney, look to get money for Marquinhos and all these rubbish players, even if it's a few £1 million here and there dotted around, Cedric and El Neni will be gone, Reece Nelson, Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, we get money for that. Then we need to actually put what a majority of our budget is, let's say it's 200 million, on a number 9 and a left 8. And then the players we sell, they then come in for the backup. So we sell Ramsdale and Tierney and we go and buy a backup defender. We sell the other guys, Nelson, Eddie, we go and buy an attacking midfielder or a right winger or someone who can cover both. That's what we need right now. Yeah, they're the players that we need to be looking at. So for me, I think it's going to be a busy window in the summer, and Arteta needs to trust his bench because the only players we're bringing on are Jorginho, Kivior, Jesus and Martinelli. And the ones that he has brought on that aren't those names are the ones that are now in our first team, i.e. Tomiyasu, Kai Havertz, Leandro Trossard. So we need to get better with that. He needs to have more faith. So that's the way I see it. He's got to win something next year, though. And a lot of people go, you said that this year. Yeah, I did, but the context is different. For me, the context is different. This guy's taken us right to the wire. And I understand that people are ruthless. And I know that Lee and Northside and a few of the others are like, nope, get rid of him. Want someone else in. Who are we going to get? I'd take Carlo Ancelotti. But other than that, who are we going to get in that's going to go beat Pep? Give me the name and I'll agree with you and we'll go do it. But I don't think there is one. So that's the way I see it. The Cronkies are happy. The fan base is happy. He's staying. He gets another window. He's given us 2 years challenging. We're beating teams that we weren't beating a long time ago. We're there again, guys. We're there again, man. We are. And we need to be happy that we're there again. Before I wrap up, this is a super chat from Brian, which says, I understand trophies are necessary, but please let's take a moment to appreciate this season. We will get there. I love this club and the players. Do you know what? Sometimes you have to look and appreciate. It's not successful because you have to be doing that for it to be successful, right? But you can look at the progress and you can look at where we were and where we are now. We're challenging Manchester City. We weren't doing that a while ago. We were coming 8th, then 5th. We were bottling top 4. We were bottling a title. We've got to a stage where we've challenged and we've taken Manchester City to the last game. Next season for me is the final straw where I say, right, are you going to win something now? You need to. Otherwise, he's always going to be the nearly there guy, the guy who couldn't quite get us across the line, the guy who built us up again, the guy who left the foundation, the guy who has spent a lot of money but just plays attractive football, just nearly gets there. All that stuff's going to happen. 100%. But I think that we need to be fair and say that Mikel Arteta's had a good season. We do. It's not been a great season. It's not been a successful season. It is a good season. Next season, it needs to be great. And that's where we'll end it. Big up to everybody. Make sure you smash the like if you've not already. We've got nearly 200 people in here. We've only got 42 likes. So please make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button. And please make sure you join us tomorrow night. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m, it'll be the Race for Europe show. And Billy, oh my word, is getting cooked. Trust me. Billy is getting a cooking tomorrow night. 6 p.m. Set your alarm clocks. Tomorrow night, Monday, 6 p.m. Make sure you are there on the Race for Europe show. It is going to be phenomenal. So make sure that you're all there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a laugh. And if you can do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Take it easy, people. And as always, up the Arsenal.